Hello, fellow lightworkers. I'm so glad you're here today. I'm Kimberly Catherine, and I have an amazing, very special guest today, Jen Heller. She's amazing. We met a little over a year ago in Kathy Heller's community, and they're not related. Listen to the interview, and she'll tell you more. But she is amazing. She is a beacon of inspiration in the health and wellness realm, embarked on a remarkable personal journey of transformation years ago. Struggling with significant weight, chronic fatigue, profound dissatisfaction, she confronted heavy metal toxicity and a paralyzing stroke head on, determined to take control of her health and reclaim her well being. She initiated a radical lifestyle overhaul, shedding 100 and plus pounds, breaking free from a marriage and corporate career, plus bravely navigating through the waters of entrepreneurship. Fueled by her own triumphs, Jen forged a singular mission: support others in paving their own path to health and happiness. With 15 years of unwavering dedication inside the wellness domain, Jen is determined to elevate her impact on unprecedented heights. She wants everyone to have access to the knowledge, tools, and resources that they need to live their most vibrant, abundant life. This is an amazing episode. Let's begin. Hello, fellow light keepers. I'm Kimberly Catherine. I'm so glad you're here today. And I have such an amazing guest, Jen Heller. We met a little over a year ago in Kathy Heller's world. And I remember the
Mhm.
first time we met in a breakout room. She's like, "No, I'm not related to Kathy." I'm like, "Oh, okay." Because the first thing you think when you see Jen Heller is that they're sisters or something, but no relation, but good relationship. And she has an amazing podcast as well, like a phenomenal business. It is amazing. It's all about healing yourself through having a healing home. And so she has a whole business built on it. And I remember when we spoke a year ago, and then in February, I gave her a healing. We were talking about feng shui because I had feng shuied houses when I built houses and remodeled them when I lived in Southern California. And she said, "Oh, maybe I could have you come on and talk about it." I'm like, "Well, I did it in 1999, which was way early on, but I'm not a practitioner. I'd have to get my practitioner behind me. I do know the whole red envelope thing and all that." But I just wanted to first thank you so much. It's so nice to see you again, Jen. And, it's interesting. I reached out to you because I remember when we had that healing, you had spoken about some health issues that you had when you were 33, and we worked on that. It was on your left side, and you can disclose whatever you feel comfortable with. And I just thought my viewers, basically, they're in the storm of it, and I've been in the storm of it, and it's finding that inner light of how do you get through that muck, that just super storm. So could you just maybe talk a little bit about where did you find that inner light when you were 33, and
Mhm.
maybe share what was going on?
Sure. Well, first of all, thank you for having me. I'm grateful to have a chance to chat with you. And no, Kathy and I are not sisters, but we're soul sisters, we like to say.
I love that.
So, where this starts, I think the catalyst and, probably the biggest warning shot of my life was when I was 33. I had a stroke,
Mm.
basically flatlined me one evening, and I turned up
Oh.
to be paralyzed on the left side after that. Which again was everybody has or most people have like a life event where there's before and after, right? There's significant lines in the sand, and this was definitely one of them for me. But I have to say that, if I'm looking back, I'm 45 now, there were a couple of storms that I walked through before and even that and since then. And so it's interesting to me, where did I find my light? I think that I've always known as at an early age, and my mom has always said that I've always had a free-spirited, like, trailblazing mindset, meaning if somebody tells me no or a teacher says, "Don't do that," or my dad said, "You can't go there," I was like, "I'm actually gonna do that anyways." So it's been of my character to just not take no for an answer. But so as it relates to the healing, the stroke, that was a very scary storm, right? I was fairly normal, I would say, probably really good shape overall, both physically, mentally, and emotionally. And then something like that comes along. And just for context, I do know why. We do know why, and it actually was a combination of a few things. It was some heavy metal toxicity that had
Mm.
crossed the brain, but it was primarily due to an injury that I had during an explosion, a massive explosion when I was 15 years old, actually. So that's why I say the couple of different things happened. When I was 15, my we were hanging out with some friends and my then high school boyfriend, the guys were goofing around with some black powder, thinking they were making like their own fireworks and their own ammunition, if you will. Well, it exploded in a massive way and it instantly killed my boyfriend as well as injured everybody else that was there, including myself. I don't think it based on your face, I don't know
Say that again?
I said, based on the look on your face, I don't think I told you that before at our
No,
session.
no, you did
No?
not.
Okay.
So that's I just have to reflect back, Jen, because you have the explosion and the toxicity,
Mhm.
but you also
Right.
have at a spiritual level deep, some people died. You had
Yeah.
souls,
My
and you were
first love.
in your
Yeah.
first love, and
I was 15.
oh my goodness.
Yeah.
So this was really at every single possible level. It was, physical,
Yeah.
spiritual, emotional. That's deep. That was deeply embedded in your
That is deep.
cellular level, which I don't know if you ever really realized how deep that was. That was really deep.
Well, I do now, because I
Yeah,
do believe the stroke was the catalyst for me to do inner work that was never done in 1996
right.
when this happened.
Ooh,
You're 15. My parents, fortunately, I survived. There was a lot of tumultuous things came out of that. Not only visually, I was the only one that wasn't impaired so badly. I dialed 911. I was the one that was helping other people, like help save lives.
wow.
And it was a very unfortunate scene that you don't unsee, right? When you see stuff like that. And so you just don't know how to process that. And my parents didn't know how to process that. And there was also some unfortunate circumstances where the parents of some of the kids that were there started fighting and were at odds, and there were lawsuits, and there
Oh,
was a lot. It was a lot. It turned into an entire mess, basically.
yeah.
And I remember my parents, I was talking to them about if we were going to be a part of any of the lawsuits because of the mental and emotional damage that had taken place. And I was just said no, because I was, and I'm actually still friends with the family
Good.
to this day because I loved them and they loved me. And we were like a family. And even though we were teenagers, we dated for 2 years and our parents knew each other. We were, like they lived
Yeah,
next door to my aunt and uncle, and it's like they were part of our family inner circle, and
yeah.
I just couldn't see throwing a grenade into that relationship. It wasn't the parents' fault. It was it was kids,
Kids being
it was
kids. Yeah,
us being kids, and the parents had no idea what we were doing. And
yeah.
so, so anyways, what that turned into is a big argument and a lot of stress. And I ended up going back to school. I remember my parents telling me they wanted me to go to therapy, and I was like, I'm not going to go to therapy and talk about this.
Yeah,
Like, why would I want to go do talk therapy? You want me to keep reliving this?
exactly.
No, I don't want to do it. And my mom, I remember, was kind of upset, but she thankfully respected my decision. I think I went one time. I was like, okay, I guess I'll go. And then I remember just like laying on the couch at this therapist's office going, I don't know you. I'm not going to talk about this. Like, I have no interest. So, all that to say is, I don't know if I would say a small amount of time off of school. And then I went right back to high school. I went right back to school.
Oh,
And
wow.
so nothing was ever really dealt with. And my parents, I've always had a pretty good relationship with my mom. My dad, not so much, but he, that changed things for us. Like he became more loving and respectful, but I just dealt with it by myself. I would go
Mhm.
out to the grave, I'd go out to the,
Yeah.
gravesite and sit and do my own healing as a teenager. I was just trying to figure out how do I process this?
Yeah.
I also that's where I started to become more spiritually connected because I could sense his name was Dave. I could sense his soul, like, I could sense him around me. He'd
Mhm.
come to me in dreams. I could feel like that was my first awakening to somebody that I cared deeply about transitioning, right? And
Right.
still feeling their presence.
Yeah.
So I became really curious about, like, how can I feel his presence when I know he's gone? And I just carried that, and then I fast forward a few years, I actually met my, first husband right, during senior year of high school, got married young, shifted into life, and then it wasn't, 15, 18 years later, so these health issues came up. I was also under a pretty, what I would say a tremendous amount of stress
Mhm.
at that time because I left my corporate job and I decided to go into wellness and start my own company. And so I was under a bit of stress in the sense of like a lot of change. I left my hometown, I quit my job, I got divorced, I moved, like all these things were going on. Started my company, new entrepreneur, and then boom, stroke. And so at that point, I didn't even understand or realize why, but I shortly thereafter started meeting with specialists and doctors that put me in MRI machines, CAT scans, and sure enough, from the explosion from 1996, I had brain damage on the right side where I took the impact of the blast hit me on the right and threw me about 8 to 10 feet, like the
Oh my
vortex of
gosh.
it
Wow.
threw me because it was so powerful
Right.
that it threw me to the ground and I fell a few feet, but the blast on the right side I had a massive concussion that day and was never treated by medical
Mm.
professionals, never went to the hospital. I'm sure the paramedics asked me if I was okay, and I probably said yes, but I didn't have anything treated. So that's a long way of saying I had brain damage from 18 years prior that I did not know,
Yeah.
and that became the weak spot for some of these other things. But I will say there were more awarenesses that I was going down a path that clearly God was like, "Hold on a second," or my guys were like, "Wait a minute," and it took a wicked stroke to send me down to my
Yeah.
knees to get my attention, right? That's just how it comes sometimes.
Yeah.
So, that sent me on a completely different path of self-healing because shortly after I got a lot of different doctors and practitioners and people suggesting that I was gonna be paralyzed for life,
Oh,
that I should get used to being in a wheelchair. I
oh.
had one doctor actually tell me she thought that I had Lou
ALS.
Gehrig's
Oh, look
disease,
there.
or no, what is it? ALS, I'm
Mm.
sorry.
Mm.
Suggested it was a form of ALS and that I should get my affairs in order.
Mm.
Fortunately, they retracted that back shortly thereafter, but it was this whole gamut of diagnosis, and I gotta tell you, every single one, I was like, "No, I'm not receiving that. No, thank you."
You're s
I know that's yeah, I know
No,
that's
you're
not
such a badass.
yeah.
Has anybody told you
Well,
that?
this is where my mom would say it's like she's
You
not
are
taking no for an answer. I
I
just like,
love
"No."
that. I love that. I mean, I
I
see
mean, I
I
remember telling one of the doctors, and I was
yeah.
like, I she's like, "Oh, you have a pretty significant form of" MS was thrown out there several times to me. "We should do IVIG treatments. We should do this. We're gonna do this." And I said, "No, thank you to all of it." I said, I don't think you know what I have or you know how to fix this. You're just like throwing a dart at a dartboard here, hoping something sticks, and I'm not a guinea pig. So I'm not doing that." So I'm not doing that. In fact, I got bounced around between 3 different medical facilities, like medical establishments, because I wouldn't go along with what they were
Mhm.
suggesting, and I
Mhm.
was like, "Find me somebody else. Find me somebody else because this is not what this is. Like, I need help."
Yeah.
Um, and then ultimately a few years into it, I fortunately I got all the answers I was looking for. I remember one day I was sitting in my car after I'd seen a Chinese medicine acupuncturist who was like, "You had a stroke, your chi is off, we need to do this, this, this." And, he basically was like, just gave it to me blunt. And I went out to my car and I just cried
Mm.
profusely because it was like, oh my gosh, I finally found somebody
That listened.
who was like,
Yeah.
this guy listened. He told me what happened.
Mhm.
I had a stroke. I can't remember exactly what he labeled it. He called it something and he said, "We can fix this."
Yeah. I had
And
the
I was
same
like,
I had the same thing happen to me with MS. Exact same thing. Yeah.
So it was just like I had to keep going, keep
Yep.
going, keep
Yep.
going, keep going until I found the people who were like, we can work with this. We can
Yep.
work with this. And I have to say, like, to this day, I don't have I have about 95, 96% function in my left hand. If you saw me today, you'd never know I was paralyzed, but I
Right.
still function, or I still have a little bit of low function in my motor skills sometimes in my left hand. But I was never married to the idea of like, I need to be fixed 100%. I need to cure this or I need to do this. It was just like, tell me there's hope
Yeah.
and I'll go down that road. That's the road I'm
Exactly.
going down. So that's what happened. And, fast forward now 12 years later, and I found the modalities, I found the therapies, I found the people, and I found the healers. And I also spent a tremendous amount of time and actually still continue to do the spiritual and emotional and mental healing that I needed to do. And I wasn't equipped to do when I was a teenager, or I shouldn't say equipped. I didn't have the wisdom to know what I needed to do at such a young age. And I didn't even know it in my 20s,
Right.
actually. And it wasn't until I started understanding alignment and what that felt like I didn't know what to do, but now, we work with a lot of healers and work with a lot of spiritually connected people that can help us get into our alignment and know what that feels like.
Yeah.
And also, it really allowed me to sharpen my discernment to work with myself and listen to my high self, listen to my team, my guides, my spirit. Completely changed the way that I speak to God and creator and source, like
Source. Yeah.
everything to me is just different because I'm listening up instead of
Mhm.
listening out.
Yeah.
And so,
It's a good description.
yeah, so that's the story.
That's deep. That's a good story.
Where do we go from there?
Where do we go from
Um,
there? Well, I know your most recent podcast episode, you talked about you have some family members that there's been a little, part of the healing process is it's not linear.
right.
We know that, right? And we
Mhm.
also know that the universe sometimes will test us and say, they'll bring things in our direction to assist with others to heal, or
Mm,
just to say, do you want to stay here? Or just, it's just life, right?
yeah,
And I think you've mentioned you've had some family stuff, and you can disclose what you want to if you do. And I'm just
sure.
curious, how has that affected all this deep? It's been 12 years since your stroke, right? Has it been 12
Yeah,
or has it been,
both.
how has it been, how is it, or has it affected these last deep 12 years of your really deep healing process? And it's been at every level, your healing process. That's what
Mm,
I'm hearing. It's not just physical, it's been truly at the deep cellular root level. Can you
yeah.
talk to that a little bit?
Yeah, definitely. Well, first, you had mentioned early on in the show that, I have a thriving business that works in
Yes.
the wellness space now.
Yes.
And my podcast, Homes That Heal, was born out of the fact that, again, as I said, I became my own health advocate, put the
Mhm.
hands on the wheel, worked with a lot of different fantastic people. But basically, what I did was over the last decade or so, is I created we call it Hell or Haven, but it's
Mm.
literally our home is like a wellness fortress. Like I brought in all of the therapies that I needed: hyperbaric chamber, infrared sauna, red light therapy, pulse PEMF therapy. I have a brain tap machine that help
God.
rewire the brain. Like every tool that I needed and that I found to be helpful, I bought it and I brought it in my home because I needed to
Amazing.
use it every day or every, very I needed it in close proximity
Mhm.
and I didn't wanna be at the mercy of having to get on somebody else's appointment schedule or drive somewhere, be somewhere.
I
I
love
just
that.
bought it and put it in my house and just made the investment and made the commitment, and over the course of time, I just have everything under my roof. And so, I also had a wellness center and sauna studio that I owned for many years, and that was the overarching message I taught people is you come in, you use the saunas, the red lights, you love it. If it's helping you with your cancer or your mold detoxification or your
Mm.
MS or your mental health issues, if these
Mm.
things help you, I think it's important that people invest in those tools so they have them part of their wellness deal. And so I was just teaching people all the time about it. And then COVID came along and I closed my wellness center and I had to shut down for, many months and then ultimately let that business go. And the message from that was I wanna teach other people how to create these homes that heal because everybody that was a member at my studio or people around me or the community that was using my center at that time, everybody just kinda went berserk and was like, "What do we do now? We don't have we don't have proximity. We can't get to the saunas. We can't do this." And it's like, you're gonna need to figure out
Mm.
if you need it, you need to get it under your roof. And so, again, that's just how the podcast was born, was me talking to a lot of the people that helped me, talking to a lot of these different types of modalities and therapies and like what how they can help people. And so we've created this home and, we live in the woods and it's fabulous and, like our friends and family come and, it's kind of like a little vacation for people. But last year, about a year ago this time, I got a phone call from my mom and she let me know, and this is was an ongoing story, and I don't wanna go too far back 'cause I'd be here all day, but essentially, my 18-year-old niece, Morgan, who was really struggling with mental health throughout her teenage years, bullying, mental health, transgender, identity crisis, tumultuous fighting in between the parents, like, all sorts of stuff going on. She had hit a breaking point and tried to take her life. She had attempted several times, but this time was different. She surrendered her cat. She sent out a bunch of goodbye text messages to family and
Oh.
friends, and she was standing up on top of a bridge
Mm.
overlooking the Wisconsin River by a dam where there was rushing water, like, she was gonna jump.
Mm.
And the only thing that stopped her was a voice in her head as she was looking down at the dark water. She heard a voice in her head tell her to get off the bridge, and she did, and she walked about a couple blocks to a police department and said, "I need help." And so they, moved her to the hospital where she stayed for a few days. I called her because Morgan and I have always been quite close. I don't have children. I've always been kinda like the cool aunt to her, so to speak, but we just had a very straightforward, pointed conversation, and I asked her, "What is it gonna take to help you? What do you need?" I said, "What if you come and live with me? You know I live in the woods, nature, take you" it's 3 hours away from where she lived. I
Mm.
said, "What if I said you could come and live with me and we could walk through and peel back the layers of what's
Mm.
going on here, and you
Wow.
can just come and stay with me for a while." And at that time, there was no time frame on it. It was just like, "Why don't you quit your job? You're in school you're in online course anyways. You're gonna graduate in a few months. Just come and live with me, and we'll figure this out." And so that's what happened. She said yes, and a few weeks later, she moved in, and we started the journey of peeling back the onion layers of what was going on with her current situation that she was in and feeling, excuse me, as well as some pretty deep deep childhood trauma stuff that
Mm.
took place that surfaced and we had to work through. So over the course of the year, she still lives with us, thank God.
Mhm.
She's happy and healthy, and she's thriving, and everything is right. If for those that wanna learn more about that story, you can tune into my show. She's been
Yeah.
on I just interviewed her last week on my show, actually, it aired, and then
Great.
episode 75 from last year, I kinda walked through this a little bit deeper for people curious, but really what this was about was her struggling with her identity, who she is, why
Mm.
she's here,
Yeah.
what's her purpose, and, I just I needed her to understand that she is loved
Mm.
and that she has purpose and that she has a safe place to sleep and a safe place to
Mm.
live.
Yeah.
And once we started that process, she started to open up. So again, that's Morgan's story, but how that changed my life or how that changed was that I was on a very diligent routine. My health
Mhm.
is great,
Mhm.
in really good health and routine. My wellness wheel is rock solid. I have very clear boundaries, as
Mhm.
you probably know.
Mhm.
And then all of a sudden this comes into my invited, but it comes into my life and it completely turned my life upside down because she became my priority.
Yeah.
Keeping her healthy, keeping her safe,
Mhm.
and keeping her well became my priority, which took my priorities off the priority list to some degree.
Yeah.
I have a whole new respect for parenting,
Yeah.
I must say. Mothers out there, holy moly.
Yeah, it's deep. Mhm.
It's, it's, I don't even have words for it, Kimberly. Like, I don't know what's more challenging, raising small children to adults or taking in a really pissed off, traumatized 18-year-old who doesn't want to live, right? And
Mm,
so it was a challenge that I did not realize until I was deep into it,
yeah.
as well as it just continued to evolve because my love and desire for her to be healthy and well just it just took over everything. Like it didn't matter what was going on, like work and things, back burner, so yeah, my health suffered a bit. That's
Yeah.
not a lie, and, I needed to do what I needed to do at that time. I know my husband was pretty worried about me a few times.
Yeah.
I was burning the candle on both ends for a few months, but like I said, once we kinda got across the threshold of where I knew she finally felt safe and she wasn't gonna take off on me and she wasn't going to be a flight risk, so to speak,
Yeah.
I could take a breath, and I started getting back on the path of my own nervous system regulation,
Yeah.
basically.
I mean, just
So
even a simple thing, and all moms can relate to this, is sleep.
oh,
Your sleep gets all disrupted, and and then there's the worry, there's the sleep and the worry, and that's so important for your nervous system.
mhm.
And then your food, your diet gets kind of, because you're like, I can't cook tonight. I can't even go to the freaking grocery store. Like it's good, 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 good. And then it's like, I don't even care. Right? Oh no, did you freeze?
And
Oh.
your face is frozen? There you
Oh,
are.
there we are.
There we are.
Okay.
We're back.
We had a little
No,
freeze there. A little spirit came in.
yeah, a little bit of high frequency here. Fortunately, my husband is amazing and was kind of the rock in a lot of in a lot of ways because
Yeah.
on days when I was like, I can't even see, I can't see straight. I'm so tired. I'm so exhausted. Dinner was like, I'd forget to eat. I was like, I just, because I'm just
Mm,
going through the motions. But it wasn't all like that. It was just there were long weeks and some long days and,
yeah.
working through the weekend and getting caught up running the business on the weekend.
Mm,
Plenty of nights working till 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning because that was my best, most uninterrupted time,
mm,
was that I could focus on that and Morgan was sleeping and the house was sleeping and I was in my office recording podcast episodes or writing scripts or,
mm.
finishing up on emails and things like that. I wouldn't change a thing, to be quite honest, because I'm so
Beautiful.
incredibly grateful. She's
Oh,
happy and healthy and thriving, and, we unraveled all of the really important, deep issues and the drugs that she was on. You're on some days and brought in a lot of my inner circle resources to help as well. So I didn't do this alone by any stretch.
yeah.
But they were also these are some of my best girlfriends too, and so I do have to say that they would check in with me too, or like,
Oh, good.
"Okay, Jen, we're gonna do a session with you today."
Oh,
It's like,
good.
"It's
Yeah.
your turn today,"
Right.
I'm like,
Yeah.
"Okay."
Yeah.
So, I had an opportunity to do some of my own healing and my own work along the way, but as you mentioned too, I just kept knowing and understanding that we built this home not just for me.
Mm,
We built this home as an example for our family and our friends, but also so that I could continue to teach what I learned and
mm,
share what I've learned with others. Morgan's story is, very specific. It resonates with a lot of teenagers, young adults,
yes.
parents, people of all ages. I had the school psychologist from where Morgan went to high school reach out to me last week and let me know that she listened to the story. She was one of the people closest to her all throughout those 4 years and was also one of the recipients of Morgan's goodbye text, one of her goodbye text messages. I didn't know that. I didn't know that until she
Wow. Spirit is really messing with us because you're frozen again. I don't know if I'm frozen. Um, are you there, Jen? If my listeners are listening, Jen just got frozen. Oh, there you go.
here
You're
here I
unfrozen.
am. I
This
could
is
hear you the
this
Yeah,
is
I could
this
hear
this is crazy.
yeah, I could hear you the whole time. It's just your face goes frozen, so I
Oh,
just keep
okay.
talking.
But you kept talking. I didn't, but you were
Yeah.
talking about, wow, that is so, it's interesting because before you said that, I was going to say, I mean, this is a heavy one, but I don't know if you see this. I could see you, people reaching out to you and saying, "Hey, Jen, when you have an available spot, can I send my kid there to be healed?" I don't even know if you've even entertained that or if people have reached out to you, but it's deep. Or maybe
People have
you,
already asked,
yep.
yes, both
Mm-hmm.
both for their children as well as themselves. My
Yeah.
home is not open to the public to come.
Mm-mm. No.
But I
Ooh.
yeah, I don't know what the future holds. As I mentioned to you before, I think we hit record. I'm in the next few weeks, I'm gonna explore what this means. There's a reason why I kind of hit pause on some of the plans, the Homes that Heal plans that I had last year. And I'm in the process of writing a book. I put that on hold last year. I was in
Mm.
the process of building out some different plans in and around how to teach a program that can walk and can go through basically the physical, the emotional, and the tools. Essentially, it's, getting the foundation right in your home, like decluttering, organizing and setting up specific spaces, and then working the emotional and spiritual aspect of it. Like, we all know this, or, I'm sure your listeners, like energetically, our home and the things in it carry a frequency.
Yeah.
And so if it's a dark energy and you got a lot of heavy stuff lying around and you got clutter everywhere and but yet you expect it to be a place of healing, it's not going to work. It's
Right.
not going to work. The body wants to be resonant with a higher vibration of loving, calm, relaxing frequency. And so when Morgan came to live here, it took her a few months for her body and her nervous system to recalibrate because she went from chaos to this peaceful retreat.
Yeah.
And it was like, whoa, what happened? And so it took a little bit to organize that because it was so starkly different. And so this is part of the process of like setting the stage. And you and I were talking about feng shui last year. It's like there is a frequency inside people's homes and in home offices or wherever you spend a good amount of time or wherever it is you're going. Maybe it's the gym, maybe it's where you go get massage. Wherever you're going and asking the body to receive healing energy, it's important to set that stage and have that space be working with the body's energy.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the future holds. I don't have a crystal ball, but I do have a vision of how I can share this out more and
Mm.
share what's in my home,
Mm-hmm.
and the things that we did create the stage. Yeah.
Oh, it's so beautiful. Well, I mean, I just have this visual of it's not your home, but somebody helps you and you build a similar type home. It could even be called what is your niece's name again? Morgan. It's Morgan's Haven.
Yeah.
And it's a similar type. It's a beautiful house in the woods. There's a staff, there's a team. They take one or two at a time. Super,
Yeah.
super high end, but I mean there is a emotional crisis right now in that age range because they're also my daughter's 21. She's in that age range and the COVID did such a number on them. Well, all of them, but I mean
Yeah.
it's
COVID
just
was definite. Yeah, COVID was definitely, in my opinion, one of the most pivotal, bittersweet experiences of our human experience. And the
mm,
reason I think that is because it forced us all into our homes, right?
yeah.
Businesses closed down. We were all shoved into our homes. And since then, and again, this is where the podcast was born, was because I had a wellness center at that time.
Mm.
I had created a place where people were coming, not fully doing what I had to do in my home, but a lot of the modalities and the things were there. And I was teaching nutrition. Had courses, like it was all there. And then all of a sudden it was gone in the blink of an eye. And so I kept getting these messages of like people are turning inward. They're looking inside their homes and they're realizing what they like and what they don't like. And even in relationships, how many marriages imploded during those couple of years because now you're forced to hang out with this person that you don't even really like, and then you realize it. And COVID's so friggin' crazy that everybody's like up to here with their tolerance and everybody's just speaking their minds. It's like, you know what? I actually don't like you. I actually don't want to be married to you. I can't even tell you how many people I've talked to that would call me to buy a sauna, and I'm like, "Well, okay, well, I can help you get a sauna. What do you wanna use it for? What are your health goals? What are your wellness goals?" well, I just got divorced because my ex, my husband, and they're like telling me all these things. I'm like, whoa, there's an overarching theme here where like we're on a shakedown. Like
Yeah.
people are selling their houses because they weren't too big enough, or they were buying, or they were downsizing because they realized they just collected a pile of things they didn't need.
Yeah.
They're restructuring relationships. People are quitting their jobs because they're
Yeah.
like, I don't even want to go back to that office. That's toxic. So we had this massive reorganization. And now, 6 years later, coming out of it, everybody's like, this pot was stirred, and people are getting really clear, much more clear what they like, what they don't like, what they need, what they don't need, how they feel, how they want to feel. And they're reshaping their homes and their lives around it, which I think is beautiful.
It
I think
is.
it's fabulous.
Yeah.
That's kind of where, and as it relates to teenagers and young adults, you're right, their lives got hijacked basically. They lost graduations, they lost interconnections, they lost years of developmental years where their bodies and their brains were processing and changing. And so Morgan was part of that. She got swept up in that. And so, we call her story, or her episode on my show, Morgan's Corner, because
Mm.
it's just a little corner of the earth,
Mm.
that a little piece of the pie, and that she wants to share out and hopefully make an impact on that generation, as well as parents or school psychologists or teachers or people who have also had like a bird's eye view of watching this,
Yeah.
and how they can be more supportive.
Well, socially, I'm from a COVID standpoint, that generation socially, I mean, it had such a huge impact. My
Yeah.
daughter's, she's in college, and it's interesting how they know how to work the system. They know because they've been behind screens, you
Yeah.
know? And then you have AI coming in, and but they know how to recognize AI, which is so fun. They know how to recognize much better than my generation, or even maybe your generation, because I'm like 20 plus on you years. So it's, I know. I just had my birthday.
Oh, happy birthday.
Thank you. It's just numbers, right?
It is. It trips
It's just
around the
numbers.
sun.
I know
It's
it's just
totally
numbers,
wisdom,
yeah.
wisdom weeks, right?
But it's more from the standpoint. Yeah, there was a lot of sweetness that came out of COVID, absolutely. But from
Mhm.
the social standpoint for those kids, I mean, a lot of them they don't even socially. It's interesting. It
Yeah,
just,
it
you
is
know what?
interesting.
It just is. It just is. There's no judgment there. It's just different.
Totally. And that's what I think one of the biggest lessons that I learned with Morgan was, like I said, I didn't have kids. I have cats, like, and a husband. I don't, I had no idea what it was like to raise a teenager
Yeah.
that has always had some sort of a screen in their hand, or the access to look anything up. I grew up in the 80s and 90s. And then, of course, the World Wide Web ushered in for me, late teens, early 20s, really. And it was like, so I had like this appreciation of both, of knowing like, you can survive without it. But young adults now are completely dependent on a lot of that stuff, and I didn't realize how much so until
Oh
she
yeah.
came. And we have rules in my house. Like I said, like, you're not sleeping with your phone. It's not gonna be on 24/7. I have my entire home harmonized, meaning there are no electronics in the bedrooms.
Mm.
Like, so there's no Wi-Fi or EMF or any kind of electronic in the bedrooms. In fact, they're lined with crystals, and they have different things designed so that when you're sleeping, because our sleep, you mentioned earlier, our sleep is so vitally important.
Yeah.
When we lay down to rest and restore, if we just have things pulsing and pinging at us all the time,
Hmm.
how the hell do you expect your body and your brain to take a break?
Yeah.
It's constantly in the microwave. Like, it
Mm.
needs to get out. So that was a complete recalibration. Like I said, her nervous system regulation. But then on top of it, we live in the country. We live on acreage. My answer to her when she was pissed off or angry about something was, go outside and lay in the grass for 5 or 10 minutes, come back in and tell me how you feel. It's like, get outside and ground. Go sit with your back up against the base of that tree and think for 10 minutes, and
Yeah.
I want you to listen to the birds and nothing else. No phones, no nothing. You go outside and you just sit there and just sit there,
Wow.
and
You're
then
ama-
come back in.
you're amazing.
Like boot camp. Like,
Yeah.
I don't, everyone who thought they wanted to come to Halloween Haven is now like, maybe not.
uh,
She's too
uh,
strict.
I don't know.
Wait a minute.
Didn't you
It wasn't
did you have a
I wa
retreat last year? You had a retreat, right? At your house?
No,
No, you
no,
didn't. Were you
well, we've hosted some things with some
okay.
friends and family, yes, we've done some things, but not like, not
Okay.
like invitational or whatever, and I wanna say, I
What?
didn't have that tone when I was talking to her either, it wasn't like the stern teacher tone, it was like, "Morgan, go outside,
Oh,
I
it's
want you
okay
to
if
sit
you
at
had
the
teacher
base of the
tone. It's
tree."
okay.
No, I mean,
No, I
maybe
know
a
what you
few
mean. Yeah.
times, but, like, in general, it was more of a loving, like, "I need you to go outside and sit by this tree or sit in the grass, and I want you to think." And within a month or 2, she knew my answers for most things, as well as she's very attuned, she's very gifted. That's a conversation for a whole 'nother day. So she was already listening and hearing and seeing spirits as a small child. That's been
Mm,
part of her issue, is that her sensories were on overload, and she didn't know how to process it. She thought she was
right.
different. Well, yeah,
Mm,
she was different in the sense that she could see spirits and colors and auras and things, and she was literally visually experiencing these things and didn't know how to deal with it, as well as nobody around her believed her when she said
right.
would tell the story,
Yeah.
you know? I believed her when she would tell me things because what she was explaining was extremely vivid, and so I
Yeah.
thought, "Well, you're one of the most creative kids I know, or you're actually seeing that." So then we just
Wow.
started working with that energy and, like, working with it for her
Yeah.
to
God,
get her guides on team.
you're amazing and she's going to do so many great things. Does she know that?
I know. She knows that.
She's going to do so many. Man, I can't
I
wait to
know.
follow because
I know.
the trajectory is only like
I
very,
know.
yeah.
And so I have to say, like, when I was flatlined and when I was,
Oh,
waking up a couple of nights thinking I was having another stroke last year and my own
oh,
nervous system was, like, really off par, the overarching message I just kept hearing was, "Keep her alive, keep her safe, keep her healthy." Like, that's my job. My job was to just keep her well, help her get her footing and get her grounded on this earth plane. And I knew, I mean, I have the tools, like, I knew I could take care of myself. I have all the things I needed. It was help her find her path and to shine the light, and we've done that. It's all
so,
good. We've turned the corner.
oh my
We've
God.
turned Morgan's corner.
Oh man, and she's got such a great name, Morgan. Like just,
I know.
wow,
Cool.
she's got so many so she's creative, right?
Oh, yeah. Yep, very creative. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
she loves to write, she loves poetry. She's an amazing artist. She draws, she's amazing at photography. She actually has a job right now where she's doing photography full
Oh,
time
that's
and loves it,
beautiful.
and she's great at
Does she
it.
have a website?
She does not. No, we
Mm.
don't have her on any kind of socials or online right now because
Yeah,
just, to protect her
everything.
space as well.
Yeah,
Yeah, as well as she doesn't wanna be online. She has
yeah,
learned that's not a great space for her to be in, so
yeah.
she's not really online.
Yeah, well, maybe, in a 2 or 3 years or something, but wow, that
Yeah,
is what a beautiful story. Oh my gosh, thank you
yeah.
so much for sharing everything. I have
You're
a quick
welcome.
question for you because I
Mm,
remember last year you talked about the saunas and because I've had MS and I'm pretty much, well, not pretty much, I'm recovered. I'm symptom free, which is amazing. My own
it's amazing.
healing journey. So I've always had this, you get these thoughts in your head and it's heat and sauna. And
Mhm.
so I heard it and I was like, kind of in one out the other ear. But then there's a spa that I go to in town, Yoso Wellness, and it's amazing. And the owner's amazing, Jenna Lee. And she has this red light sauna. So I don't
Yeah.
know. It was like in the summer, they had some special, their anniversary. So I got a package, you
Mhm.
get one free. But I held on to it for like 6 months before I went because I was still so nervous. I had this mental block from the heat. And so I called them and I said, okay, I'm going to do a session. But a friend told me that I can request the temperature because, what is it usually? And they said 145. And I said, well, can you do 110? And they said, yeah, okay. Yeah, you can do that. So I did it. I did 110. And I'd go in and out, get water in and out. I was kind of nervous and I just did my little mantras. It's okay. It's okay. Look at the clock. Okay. 27. It's only been 3 minutes. Take a
Oh
deep
gosh.
breath. It was 30 minutes. And I think I went up to like maybe 118, the
Okay.
temperature. And then the next time I went again and I had him have it at 120. And the owner,
Mhm.
she saw me after and she said, Kim, actually 110 is a real sweet spot to be
It
at.
is. It is.
And, you know, it's good you listen to that. And then the next time I went, I'm probably going to go this weekend. The next time I went, I think I had them start at 120. So I'd toggle between
Mhm.
110 and maybe 121. But I'm
Mhm.
just curious, the sauna, can you talk a little bit about sauna? Because I know that was a big, was that the first thing that you did for, it was,
Yeah.
right? I felt
Yeah.
so amazing after. I do get
Yeah.
it. I
Yeah.
I I it was red light. Sorry, I keep interrupting you. Is
Oh,
yours
no, no,
red
no.
light that you do, or how, what's the
Yeah.
difference?
Well, it's infrared red light
Oh,
therapy.
it's the same. Okay.
Yep, it's the same, but there is infrared therapy and there's red light, which is photobiomodulation, which is a science term for it. They're two different therapies,
Okay.
very similar in some benefits. But when you go into the sauna, is there a super bright red light on you,
Yep.
or is it just
Mhm.
heat? Okay. Okay. So you have heat therapy plus the red light therapy. So that's a
Yes.
very powerful combination. That's what I have in
Yes.
my home as
Oh, that's the
well.
same
That's
thing.
what,
Okay.
yeah, pretty much. So a couple things. So first of all, yes, 110 to 120, 125, anywhere in that zone. That's the sweet spot as it relates to healing because it's warm enough to where your body feels good,
Yeah.
but it's not shooting your heart rate up so high into like some cardio heart rate mode where the cortisol is going to elevate and you're getting stressed out. And some people don't like heat, like they don't feel well in heat therapy. And now I should say preface too. Traditional saunas are usually like 180 to 220 degrees, so we're still significantly lower. And infrared is a dry electric heat. It's essentially a light energy. So think of sunlight. It's like the sunlight without dangerous UV. So
Mm,
the purposes and why our bodies feel so resonant to it is because it's like sunlight energy. So it enters
mm.
into the body. So
Okay.
it's working with the body.
Yeah.
It's not just heating the airspace. So that's the difference between a traditional sauna and an infrared sauna is you're
Okay.
literally putting, and if we think of ourselves as plants, like plants love the sun. We need sunlight to
Yeah.
grow. We need sunlight to thrive. And so that's what you're doing is you're kind of charging your body batteries and you're putting yourself into what's called parasympathetic nervous state system,
Yeah.
parasympathetic. So the body can just take a break. It can relax, it can
Mm.
restore. Now, for those that like to get a deeper sweat, so for me, I had to detox heavy metals. So yes, I did the sauna was the main therapy I had to step into first because of the overload of mercury and lead that was on the brain from the
Right.
high levels of toxicity. There was no way, no other way. There's no binder or pill on the market that was going to extract those metals like infrared heat because infrared heat penetrates into the body, elevates our core temperature 2 to 3 degrees. So we sweat from the inside out
Yeah.
versus just the air. So like I said, it's working with the body. So you just start sweating and the body is moving, the lymph system is moving, vasodilation opens up, circulation. It's working with the heart in a gentle way. So it's getting the blood flow pumping and moving like in a safer, gentler way versus like a heavy, hard to breathe traditional sauna.
Yeah.
So the beautiful thing about infrared is just exactly what you said. You can set the temperature to whatever you want.
Yeah.
You want to just feel the warmth, arthritis, aches and pains, inflammation. You go 110 to 120, maybe 125. You want to get into a little bit more heart rate up, sweating, detox. You need to be in like 125 to like 145, somewhere in
Mhm.
that range, which is why they were always hovering. I always hovered mine at my studio at 120
Mm.
because I could very easily cool it down if somebody really wanted it lower, just took a minute or two, or you can ramp it up and get it, into those higher temps pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Um, but it's a beautiful light energy experience.
It is.
And in addition to that, I'm sure you can probably relate to this too, is you just disconnect. You just go inward.
Mm.
You can meditate. You can
Mhm.
sit in silence. You can listen to your favorite podcast. You can listen to music. I love to listen to 432 hertz frequency. Have you done
Mm.
that yet?
Mhm. Oh, yeah. I've been into
Yeah.
432 for a while. Yeah.
Yeah. So I turn that on when I'm in the sauna.
That's a good
So
idea.
it's sending the frequency to the body to heal, like just different
Mhm.
layers. That's what's nice about the saunas is you can set the music, set the lights, set the temperature, completely set the tone of the experience. And you
Mhm.
climb in and you go into your little wellness sanctuary,
Your own little haven.
your own
Yeah,
little haven. Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. It's, um, it's changed a lot of lives, not just by the physical symptoms, but the mental awareness and the mental and emotional healing that can also take place when you allow yourself to get quiet with yourself,
Mm,
as well as, like I said, take time to relax and restore, not just go to sleep. This is a different realm that you can really unwind in.
yeah. Gosh, my skin, I could tell my skin the next day too. And I
Yeah.
didn't
Oh,
I
yeah.
didn't I didn't profusely perspire or sweat. A good friend of mine, we do yoga together every week, and she's amazing. And she works at one of the float tanks, and they have the
Oh,
saunas
yeah.
also.
Those are awesome.
Yeah, those are awesome. And she was saying, hey, because I was telling her I'm a little nervous because the heat. I think at theirs it's at 175. Maybe it's a
That's
different. Yeah.
y
She said
y
she goes, "You can tell them." She was the one who said, "Hey, you can tell them to do
mhm.
a certain," but she likes hot. I don't know if she does 175. She goes, "Oh, I love it. I sweat and it's so great." I'm like, I like to sweat. I have no problem sweating. I love to sweat, but it's just more the heat thing. So, but yeah, I couldn't
Yeah.
believe how God, you really do feel so good the next day. Like so
Yeah.
and I thought of you, and then I also thought of the biohacking and then the Dave Asprey. Are you going this year? The
Yeah.
biohacking oh, you
Yep.
are? God, I really
Yeah.
want
I've got it all set up. I was dragging my feet on it because, well, I mentioned to you I was in Puerto Rico in January, which is just an amazing trip.
Yeah.
That that was Jen hitting the reset button for Jen. I was with a few of my
Oh,
girlfriends, and we
good for
did some
you.
very, very deep inner work there, and so it was just time for me to switch gears and focus back in on my health and healing as well as some of the
Mm,
business projects.
yeah.
And then I've been traveling kinda nonstop since January. But last week, yeah, I just made the decision. I've got some friends down there and a few people were like, "You're coming, right?" I was like, "Oh gosh, okay." So I bought my ticket, booked all my travel last week. So yeah, definitely going. But yeah, I love that experience. I've been doing that for years
Yeah.
because you can try everything. You
Yeah.
get to experience it all. Wonderland Tech Hall is 5 stories of this hotel that's loaded with hundreds of brands of wellness. I mean, he's calling it the Beyond Conference now.
Oh,
It's
wow.
not biohacking. Yeah, he
Oh,
changed it.
okay.
He made an announcement last year when we were there. He's changing it now. It's called the Beyond Conference or Beyond Biohacking because it's more about conscious healing. And there's
Mm,
so many um yeah, there's so
God.
many people there that aren't there with just these biohacking tools, right? Because I think
Right.
the word biohacking got a little overused in my opinion.
Mm,
It's like, what does that mean? I'm not trying to hack my body. I'd like to work with it, in my opinion.
yeah.
Like, I'm not trying to trick it.
Yeah.
I'd like to habit stack. So yeah, he switched it up to Beyond Conference and it's really about conscious healing. And it's amazing because that's where I try a lot of things that you wouldn't otherwise try. It's all there under one roof, as well as you just meet and learn about incredible healing modalities that you just didn't know existed. And
Yeah.
just story after story of
Wow.
self-healing, recovery, life-changing experiences, like right at the edge of death and, people with stage 4, all these different diagnoses, and they just walk it back and they're just
Yeah.
doing it in their own way. So I love that. It energizes me, and I needed to just, like, take a breath because, like I said, it takes me a couple weeks to, like, decompress from that event.
Oh,
I was
yeah.
like
When is it,
so,
May?
yeah, May 26, 27, or something like that for, like, 3
Oh,
days. End of
so I
May.
think that yeah, Memorial Day weekend maybe.
No,
Oh,
Memorial
it's
Day
not?
weekend is early. It's so
Oh.
Memorial Day is the 25th, yeah, because then I fly out on the 26th the next day on Tuesday. Because I was looking at that for travel. I was like,
Mm,
"Oh gosh, if that's a Memorial weekend, I don't wanna be trying to fly home on
mm-mm,
Saturday," but it's not.
it's
Memorial is
not.
the weekend before. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, maybe I'll check into that. I just recently did 2, Dr. Joe Dispenza. Those were have you done those?
I've done some
Amazing.
things with Joe. I have not gone to his retreat, his
Mhm.
in-person retreat yet. That's on my list for sure. He was one of the headliner speakers last
Oh,
year at Dave's event. Yeah, and he was incredible.
he is.
So yeah, I've done some of his work, but I've not done the big, long, deep dive retreat yet.
Oh, I did the deep dog. Well, I did the 1 week, first week in December, and then and then like 3 days after I got home, I was just so high. It was so amazing. I pressed go for the follow up, which was 3 months later. So I,
Oh my gosh. I
I know it
know.
was amazing. That's what
So that's the
happens.
thing is like I'm like I need to carve out on my schedule where you can completely disconnect. And
Yeah,
obviously last year wasn't it. I couldn't even
right.
hardly leave my house last year. But no, this year that's I mean my trip to Puerto Rico was I hit the reset button and completely checked out for 8 days. And it was
Nice.
amazing. It was
Good for
amazing. It
you.
was so good.
Wow. Was it a
It was
retreat
good.
center or what was it?
No,
No,
my
just,
friend Meg, no, my friend Meg Zeckel, she does spiritual retreats
oh,
in
okay.
Puerto Rico, and then she does them in Wisconsin, and then she does them in Colorado, I think also. So you go, it's a whole container. There's usually like 6 or 8 women, and then she, along with 4 or 5 other ladies, it's like a whole
It's a whole thing.
it's a very deep container. Yeah, Meg's a friend of mine. She lives 10 minutes from me, so she's local and she does like local sound baths and just amazing work locally. But she hosts these retreats 2 or 3 times a year. And the one in Puerto Rico, I just knew if I was going to do something like that, like I needed to totally check out and go,
Mm,
instead of it being too close to home. And
hmm.
so, yeah, they're powerful. Definitely hands down the most transform. I mean, and I've done some crazy stuff, but it's hands down the most experience of my life, both mentally, physically, emotional. Healing was done. I came back
In
from,
Puerto Rico?
yeah, I came
Oh,
back from that event and felt like a complete mind, body, spirit upgrade. Like my body doesn't even feel the same. Like we did some serious frequency shifting there.
wow.
Um, I had a conversation with myself that I was going to surrender fully and not hold back. And I absolutely did. And I completely let go like I've never let go before.
Ooh,
And I came back from that event y- by day 3, I knew something shifted. And I also was carrying and holding a lot of energy and space for Morgan, right? With
yeah,
her trauma. And
yeah,
I needed to set it down because it wasn't healthy for me to keep carrying. And
yeah.
so we did that all in a very swift fashion. I said, I'm ready, let's go. And the ladies that run this event are beyond incredible.
That's
So if you
amazing.
want to know what Meg does, you can look her up. She's meganzeckel.com, Zechl. She's incredible. And I can't say enough about, well, our friendship. We've been friends for years, and her
I'm
mom
gonna
is
look her up.
phenomenal.
Definitely,
But
I'm gonna look her up.
her events are unmatched. Like I said, I've done a lot of events. I go to a lot of retreats. I mean, I've been in crazy stuff. I don't even want to say because some of it's not even legal in the United States. And I've like flown out to Sedona and done some stuff. I've flown out of the
I
country
love
and done
Sedona.
something. I've done a lot of experimental things, and
Right.
this was not experimental. This was just me going inward with myself and trusting the other women that were there to help guide and surrender. And we brought in guides and spirit and sort. It
Everything.
was electric. Yep,
Wow.
it was wild. So I think I shared. I'll probably have Meg on my show sometime
Yeah,
this year. Um,
definitely.
it took me about a month or two to get the words to even describe it, actually. So I'll probably have her on my show at some point and we'll talk about it.
Yeah. Oh, I
Like,
can't.
at least get into it as much as possible.
Oh man, I can't wait to listen. Gosh, this has been so awesome. So
Oh,
fun.
great. I was
I
gonna say,
know,
well,
right?
is this what we were supposed to talk about today? I don't even know. It's just real life. Isn't it
It's real,
great?
you know what? It's real life. Well, yeah, no, it is because it's talking about a pivotal point when you were 15,
Mhm.
33, and then you were touched again
45.
on 45, and then you were touched again on, hey, carrying the light for somebody else. You were holding the lantern for your niece,
Yeah.
and you really were. You were running with her in her dark storm, and you were holding that lantern and saying, I got you. And you held her
Mhm.
hand. And look at this, 1 year later, and she is like, okay, I can sleep through the night. You know,
Yeah.
that
She's holding her own lantern now
she is, and it's
for others.
so beautiful. And she knows because you have this beautiful safe haven. I think she's always going to know internally that she can go back to you
Hmm.
energetically to go to the safe haven or physically go back there if she needs a reset. And that is like such a powerful gift that you've given her. This is the confetti.
Oh, I'm receiving it. Thank you.
You're
Yeah,
welcome.
it's been a journey, and she's my brother's daughter, so it's like, he's her dad. But we have definitely solidified and grounded, like, this is home base for her, and she knows that.
Yeah.
And when she decides to move out, and we don't know when that is, it doesn't matter. The divine timing is going to let us know. But right now, she's thriving and she's doing well. She's actually digging into forest school, which is very interesting, so that she can work with or with children, and she wants to get into some sort of teaching, like outdoor teaching. I guess
Mm.
all my lectures of get outside into the woods and figure it out, she now wants to share that with other kids. So yeah, it's been a fun journey, and I've always said the stroke was, like I said, the biggest catalyst for me to understand that life happens for us, and it's a
Mm.
gift, and it's a
Yeah,
magical gift, just depending on how
absolutely.
much we want to see the magic.
Right.
And it took me a little time to see the magic when I was 33. I don't know that I saw any magic when I was 15. At that stage, that was a very tough time. But as we age, we get wise and we learn,
Mm.
and we're here on Earth School to
Yeah.
learn lessons. And I am just, yeah, grateful every day. Whatever comes at us, like, we just handle it and just stay in the alignment
Yeah.
and stay into what feels like our most, just embody how you want to feel, right? Like, just emulate your life and your home. Like I said, I'm just promoted as it's not a business to me. It's my purpose is to
Yeah.
teach people how to create spaces that feel fantastic.
Mhm.
Create a life that you don't need to vacation from.
Yeah.
Live the life every day
Yeah.
under your roof and make choices and live and love every day as if it was your last, because
You don't
I'm
know.
telling you, when I put myself in Morgan's shoes on top of that bridge, it scared me, and it wasn't even me.
Yeah.
And so it's changed the lens I look through.
Mm. Wow, you're amazing. You're definitely an angel on earth here. Wow.
Oh, thank you.
Accolades to you. I'm raising her up. Raising her
Well,
up,
thank you.
raising her up.
Well, I have to say, our session last year, I mean, I know we kind of glazed over that early on, but that was pivotal. Like, we had an amazing I had an amazing breakthrough when you and I were
Oh,
working together last
oh,
year.
thank you so much. Oh,
Yeah, I mean, that opened up some, because a few weeks later, Morgan moved in with me. Like I
I
said,
know.
that was just a few weeks later. And your session with me, we were focused on the healing. We were focused on my health. We're focused on a few decisions that I needed to make. I made those decisions. Everything, like, worked out. And then it was like, boom. It was like
You were
I
thrown
had
in.
this runway. Yeah, everything was solidified and taken care of. And then all of a sudden, this thing with Morgan came in, and it was like, I had to get that off my plate, so to speak. Like, those decisions and that work needed to be done.
Mm,
And it was, and then it allowed me the foundation and the focus to shift gears and focus on her.
mm.
So thank you
Thank you,
for your
Jen. Oh,
wisdom.
that makes so
Yeah.
much.
And just,
Oh,
I'm
that,
grateful for our friendship and connection,
yeah,
because you were a
absolutely.
huge help.
Oh, thank you so much. I super received that. Happy tears.
Yeah.
One last quick question. I know you like dark
Sure.
chocolate. What's your favorite brand, and with or without nuts or quinoa or anything?
What is my favorite brand of chocolate? Oh my
Dark
goodness.
chocolate. I saw on
Dark
your,
chocolate.
yeah, you like dark chocolate, right? Or is
I
that
do.
changed? I'm a
No,
super,
no, no, no. That's not changed. That's
it's
constant.
my addiction, dark chocolate.
I was just gonna say, oh boy.
I always have 8 bars in my pantry.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite brand?
I go to I don't have a favorite brand. I'm trying to think. I'm blanking right now because I can see the label,
Is it
but I can't.
chocolate love or Hue?
No. Is it
Hue.
Hugo?
Hue.
Hue.
HU, right?
HU, yes.
Yeah, it's my
Yeah,
favorite.
with the
Yeah.
brown wrapper, right? Yeah, that's my
Yes.
fave.
Yeah.
Why was I thinking it was Hugo? I don't know. I
No, I
was
don't
seeing
know.
the
Hue.
it's Hugh. Hugh's one of my faves. There are others too, but Hugh's my favorite. And yeah, dark chocolate is definitely a vice.
Oh, big
So
time. And I love the dark
it's,
chocolate covered almonds.
yeah, I
Dangerous.
don't,
Yeah.
go ahead.
No, they're
You,
just dangerous. I could do a whole bag.
I was gonna say that's danger. I don't care for the nuts in my. I just like it. The darker, the better. 100% cacao, like, the
Mhm.
darker, the richer, the better. However, I'm a sucker for sea salt. I like a little
Oh,
sea
yeah.
salt,
Oh,
the sea salt one,
yeah.
and I
Mhm.
think there's a mint one that I actually tried once, and that was a couple of times that was pretty good, but I'm just like a straight piece of chocolate, or I'll do the sea salt one.
I love
That's
that.
it.
You're
Pretty
s
simplistic.
Oh, no, not at all. You're so fun. I love it. Oh my goodness. Well, thank you so much again.
Oh, thank you,
Jen, we're
Kimberly.
gonna have to do a follow-up. I wanna hear more about, I know you're going on another retreat with Kathy Heller
Yeah.
and obviously it's not
Dave,
biohacking, the new name, the Dave
the
Asprey
Beyond conference.
Beyond Conference
Yeah.
and how your, niece Morgan's doing and just
Yeah.
life.
Yeah. Life is good. Life is
Life
good.
is
Life is
good.
grateful. I am just beyond grateful for everyday friendships, connections, this
Yeah,
work we get to do.
so beautiful.
It's hard to put into words. So thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you. You're amazing.